Have you ever walked away from a conversation wondering, why did that not hit? Why was that not as good as a conversation as I wanted it to be? It started off good, then it trailed off at the end. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling connected to a person you just met, the person you just started talking to? If either one of those scenarios has ever happened to you, this video is for you. Today I'm reviewing Supercommunicators, How to Unlock the Secret Language of Connection by Charles Duhigg. You may know Charles Duhigg from other books such as The Power of Habit. This book blew my mind because it turns something that we do every day into a learnable skill and potentially a superpower. Duhigg shows in this book that how we communicate, the decisions we make while we're in that conversations, the questions we ask, the tone of our voice can influence who we trust and who we want as friends. And like I said, this is a learnable skill. If you want deeper relationships, if you want to just stand out in your work meetings, if you want to have less miscommunication with your partner, stick around because I'm about to break down the core tenets and aspects of Supercommunicators. This book is so interesting because it is a self-help book, and you would think it might be kind of dry how self-help books normally are, but he mixes stories in with practical core tenets that helps you become a better communicator. The book is an entertaining book from cover to cover. At the very beginning, he talks about guitar players. If two people are playing guitars, their brains are not connected. They're not what they call neurological synchronization. But as soon as they start playing duets, their brain waves match, their breathing patterns match, the eyes dilating matches. I mean, it's kind of like you become one being there for a second when you're in a duet making music, if you're communicating, and if you're really working with your partner that you're talking to, making music with or whatever, you become one essentially. So here's one of the biggest problems with miscommunications. He insisted there's three different types of conversations. There's emotional, there's social, and there's decision making. I want an emotional conversation. I just want you to hear me and hear what I'm saying. I don't want you to try to fix anything. I don't want you to try to help me through it. I just want you to listen to it. And then whoever's listening to that conversation may have the mindset of where they want to try to fix it, try to help you. And that irritates the person that is speaking, and then kind of irritates the other person that they're talking to. So there's a mismatch in the communication that they're having. So the three communication styles are decision making and practical, kind of like, what is this really about? All right, there's an emotional conversation, how do we feel? And a social communication, which is like, who are we? You got to figure out real quickly what kind of conversation you want to have. And sometimes you just have to ask, do you want me to help? Do you want me to hug? Or do you just want me to listen? And that is valid if you have to ask what kind of conversation you want to have. I mean, it will save a lot of problems and heartaches at the end. And on top of figuring out what kind of conversations you're having, there are four different there's four different rules of learning conversations. The first one is pay attention to what kind of conversation you're having. The second is share your goals and ask what others are seeking. You need to ask about others' feelings and share your own. Explore if identities are important. These four rules are simple, right? There's split second decisions, and you're not going to get them all right. Like I say, it's a learned skill. The more you do, the better you are at it. But in this book, he has different stories in here. This is what makes the book super fascinating. He talks about a CIA agent who is tasked to try to recruit different spies from around the world, and he's failing. He's worried about losing his job until he is at his wit's end with the last best hope he has, and he finally stopped putting on the act and starts communicating and connecting with this person on a human level, he's finally able to persuade her to help and be a spy for him. Then he tells another story about a super communicator in a deadlocked jury that uses his communication skills to persuade the other jurors to make a decision. Another tool that Charles Duhigg uses that I've seen him talk about extensively in other podcasts and interviews I've seen is looping for understanding. So the first step is you ask a question, all right, and they give you an answer. You repeat back in your own words their answer. That's step 2. So step 3 is then you ask if you got that right. And this really helps if you're in conflict with someone. Duhigg points out in a Harvard study of adult development, it's one of the largest studies ever, that your relationship with people at age 50 determines your overall health at age 80. It determines how happy and healthy you are at 80. With the relationships that you have right now at 50, I'm 49, so the relationship I have right now with people will determine how happy I am at 80. Hey, that's amazing. So my biggest takeaway of this book is that communication, being a skilled communicator, is not magic. It is a skill that you can develop. So if you match conversation by using one of the 3 conversation types, you can connect with anybody. So let me know in the comments below if you have read this book and what you think. Like I say, it's a self-help book. I classified it as a self-help book, but it is one of the most entertaining self-help books that I've ever read. So let me know if you've read it. Leave me a comment below. Tell me if you like it. Tell me what you thought about it. And until next time,